Hey guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with a video that I had no idea how I was going to do. It is now Monday that I'm filming this, the 11th, and I am home from Book Bonanza now, but this time was a little different than my last vlog that I did when I was traveling, where I just didn't talk to the camera at all. I did not feel comfortable filming in front of a ton of people. I felt weird, like, taking time to talk to a camera while I was with all my friends, because I was with a lot of my friends, and I just want to soak up the whole experience. So sometimes when we were sitting, Tori from Live a Novel Life and I would pull out our phones and be like, oh yeah, we want to record this scene. So I have tons of b-roll for you that I'll show you, and I figured I'd go through each day and chat about how everything went, show you my stack of books that I got, and just let you know how the whole weekend went, because it was a wild ride and I loved every minute of it. So I don't know where I want to start. I bought tickets for Book Bonanza. I think Tori and I bought them in February, maybe March, after we went to Nashville, and we were like, we want to go to Book Bonanza together. So we did. It is a signing in Texas put on by Colleen Hoover in the Bookworm Box, which is her charity bookstore, and tickets are $200 each, which was actually really expensive for a book signing, but all the proceeds go to charity and you get a lot from the weekend. So it is a 4-day signing starting on Thursday night, going through, I guess it's 3 days. It goes through Saturday, but you, like, there's a party Saturday night, so we stayed through Sunday, and you got a lot. You check in, you get bags. You got 2 bags full of stuff. I think there were like 5 books in the bag. I left a couple of them because I flew and I live in Ohio. It took place in Dallas, Texas. It took place at the Gaylord, which is like a massive resort hotel, and it was a lot. I feel like I'm already talking in circles. I have no idea where I want to go, but the $200 gets you a lot. So you get the swag bag, you get access to everything. There were food trucks on Friday you got a $10 ticket for, and like proceed, you got $10 worth of food, and then you had to pay for the rest if you wanted more. And then there was a fairy tale party Thursday night, which we didn't go to. Friday you got panels, and you got to go to 3 different panels that were 45 minutes each, and then you got lunch that was provided, which was a bag lunch, and then you had a 5-hour signing, and then you got to go to the Dress Like an Author or Character party that night. Saturday, you got to go to 3 more panels in the morning, you got a bagged lunch, and then you got another 5-hour signing, and then there was a decades party. So there's a lot to do at these signings. That's all you get. For signings, you don't get free books typically, unless it's like in the swag bag you get. Authors will sometimes give out free things to the first few people, which is what happened to me, or if you like personally know an author and they're holding a book for you, that might be why. But other than that, you are there to buy books or bring your own books to the signing. If you want me to do, my friend has already done this, but if you also want me to do one, I can. So Caitlin from the Love Librarian has done a video all about how to prepare for a book signing. She went to Nashville. I was in the Nashville signing too. Before I was friends with her, and now I like wish I could squeeze her and say hi to her. So we are going to go to a signing eventually together, but Caitlin has 2 separate videos about how to do book signings, so check hers out if you're interested. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that thought. I am all over the place right now. But Book Bonanza, that's how the structure of the signing went. So on Thursday, I flew in and I was having nightmares about my flight being canceled and then losing my luggage, but you know what, that's okay. I brought a little over 30 books with me. I had a big suitcase I checked, which could only be 50 pounds, and then a carry-on that I brought with me and that I checked at the gate because I had like 20 books alone in my carry-on. So I was not going to be able to lift that above my head whatsoever. So I did check it at the gate, which they oftentimes want you to do, which is free, so that they can free up above head space, like air bin space, because the flight's so packed, and it just makes it so much easier. I love checking my bag at the gate, because then I know it's going to go right on the plane, so they can't lose my bag. They did not lose any of my bags, and none of my flights were delayed or canceled, thank goodness. So I took a flight at about 1 o'clock. I left Columbus. I got to the airport at like 10:45. I am TSA pre-approved now, which I paid $80 for the next 5 years to be TSA pre-approved, which I thought was great. Tori did it, so I did it. Seamless going through security, except for they did check my carry-on because my books probably flagged the x-ray machine. They opened it, so it was books, let me through. So I got on the plane, had a good flight. I read Little Green Vines and Grading Curves by Sierra Simone, and those were both great. And I started Psycho by Onley James. And then I arrived. I did not read for the rest of the weekend until the plane ride home, but I got there and Tori's flight landed about 45 minutes before me, so she waited and we got to hug again, and I love Tori so much. I will link everybody down below I chat about. Tori and I and Morgan from Nothing Better Than a Book roomed together, so we were excited to see each other. Morgan though lives in Texas, so she had about a 3-hour drive, so she just drove, which I'm so jealous of because she got to bring so many of her books and buy so many books and just pack her car up. She did not have to worry about flying, so I would have loved to do that, but that's okay. I limited myself. I was taking books out of my suitcase as I was packing because my suitcase was too heavy, so I only brought up to 2 books per author that I saw, even though I could have brought like 5. So I landed, Tori found me at my baggage claim, and then we hopped in an Uber, took it to the Gaylord, which is only a 10-minute drive to the hotel, which was so nice. So we got there and we met Morgan, got settled into our room, and immediately went to register. And at registration they handed us, and I don't even think there was a line at registration, we just went to this giant room where we had to show them our ID. We were handed our like information card that had our tickets for the week, so we had tickets for lunch, and on both days we had the cupcake room ticket, so we got a free cupcake, and a giveaway ticket for the opening ceremony and closing ceremony, where they gave away a ticket for next year and 2 or 3 nights at the hotel for next year. None of us won, but that's okay, we entered the raffle anyways. And so we got that, and we got our swag bags, and we got our t-shirt, so that all was included with the ticket, which was awesome. It was a ton of swag from a ton of different authors, a bunch of stickers, different things. There was a 50 Shades of Grey item in there, and so that was a lot of fun. And authors just donated swag for the bags. A lot of authors were donating to the bookworm box as well. There were like major sponsors that were highlighted on the author list because everything's being donated to charity for this event. After registration, we like scoped out the hotel. Oh, and there were food trucks, so we did not end up leaving the Gaylord for dinner. Their restaurants were harder to get into because there's just like a huge resort and tons of people were staying there. They have their own like water park too. It was a lot. So they have a lot of people on their property like all the time. There was like, they were setting up for another conference when we left, so things go on there a lot. So they had food trucks set up down by the parking garage, and we went down, and the pizza line was massive. It took like an hour. I'm not the biggest fan of pizza, so I ended up getting a pulled pork sandwich, and Tori did, and Morgan waited in line for the pizza. And that's where we met up with Kerry from Books for Romance and spent some time with her. And Kerry is such an extrovert that she met Tabitha, who is just a reader, and Kerry sat down next to her and started chatting with her and kind of adopted her into our group. So if you ever see any of my pictures floating around on Instagram and like in this video, when you see all the people I'm hanging out with, it is mostly Tori, Morgan, Kerry, and Tabitha. We decided to stick together. We met Tabitha during the food trucks and adopted her into our group, and I'm so excited because this group was just absolutely fabulous to hang out with all weekend, and it was just a blast. So we did the food trucks, and there was a ice cream food truck, which was a lot of fun, and that's pretty much all that went down that day. We were spotting authors and like fangirling. Kerry would run into literally every author under the sun and get pictures with them. We didn't see too many, but Thursday night when we were walking around, we ran into Candy Steiner, Brittany C. Cherry, and Gianna Darling, who I'm obsessed with. So we ended up stopping them because we saw them and they were on their way to they had to change and go to some author party where they got a party bus. But Gianna took one look at us and like immediately started jumping up and down, gave me and Tori the biggest hugs. We got to meet her in Nashville already, so we've already met her, but she is just like the sweetest and fangirls over us as much as we fangirl over her. So we were chatting with her because I feel like I haven't spoken to her in months because she's not on Instagram. And so normally we chat on Instagram a lot because I just love her so much. I've been reading her since, I think I looked it up, like 2018 I've been reading her books. That's when I picked up the Fallen Men series. There were only 2 books out. I have been obsessed with her writing for so long and with her as a person. And so we were chatting about her traveling. She went to Scotland for Rare, and she went to Italy with her fiance, and she like was talking about all these amazing things she did. And so I had so much fun just talking with her. She spent so much time with us too. I want to say we talked for like 20-30 minutes, and then she finally got dragged away to have to go to this author thing. Most of the times the readers go to the parties that the book signing puts on, and the authors go have their own little parties. So that's totally fine. We ended up saying bye, and then we just decided to go to our room for the night. So, and prepare for the next day, pack our carts, decide who we want to see, and make a game plan. So I had a folder. I should have brought it. Oh, it's here. So I had my game plan folder. So in this game plan folder, I have all of these seating charts highlighted with authors that I had to see versus authors that had wristbands. And so wristband author list, and then the panel schedule that we had highlighted who I wanted to see, and then all of my books I brought in the pre-orders. Super, super helpful because that was needed for the next day. So I will go ahead and show you some B-roll. I've been talking for so long already. So here's some stuff from Thursday. Okay, so on Friday, we ended up getting up around, I got up at like 6:30 so that I could shower and get ready, and we all got ready, so we were all ready to go by 8 to go downstairs because nothing started till 9, but we wanted to be down there and to just scope things out. The opening ceremony was at 9, and there was a panel all about like their movies, and it counted as the opening ceremony, so like that was the only panel at 9, and it was Colleen Hoover, E.L. James, Anna Todd, B.B. Easton, Heidi McLaughlin, and someone else that I didn't recognize that I think was the moderator of the panel. So they did the opening ceremony, did the giveaway winner, and then they chatted all about what it was like to be an author with a movie, which was fun. It was okay. It wasn't my favorite panel. We left that panel early so that we could get to the dark romance audio panel, which was Pam Godwin, Gianna Darling, and 4 audiobook narrators. So we were literally front row seats to that panel, and I was freaking out a little because I had a dark romance reader shirt on, and one of the audiobook narrators, they were talking initially about what dark romance was, pointed to me because of my shirt and said, "So you read dark romance, what is it?" And I was like, I am not on this panel. I was not prepared to speak, and so I had to talk about what it was, and then they like carried on with the conversation, and so I was turning red according to Tori. I was not expected to be put on the spot, but that panel was really great. It was our favorite. And then there was a panel at 11, but we chose to skip that panel so that we could loiter in the signing room lobby in order to see what was going on, because we could not line up for the signing until noon. And so at noon we were allowed to go into a room where we were herded into a giant line to wait 2 hours to get into the signing room. Now we wanted to get good spots because of the wristbands. They had revealed early on in that week that they were wristbanded authors, and the only way you could see them is if you go straight to their table when the signing started and get a wristband for them. And then they would call the numbers throughout the 2 days. So anywhere from like 1 to like 500, I think. And so we were worried because half of the authors I wanted to see were on the wristband list. And so we were hanging out for an hour in the lobby. They would not let us get into a line, so we were just literally like in a mob, but not in a mob. We were like in a big cluster of people, and they actually opened up the food room early because the food room wasn't supposed to open till noon, but we were supposed to line up in the room at noon, so they opened it about 11:40. So we all like went in, grabbed our bags of food, and came back out because they were like to-go bags, which was great. Food was okay. Not the best. They were turkey sandwiches, but then we were finally let into the room, and so I would say we were probably like 100 100 people in line. Granted, there were 1,800 tickets, I believe, sold to this event, and so we were within the first 100 in this room. So Heath Hoover, Colleen Hoover's husband, was the one leading us, and I believe I have some footage of that as well. He led us into this room, and we were snaked into lines, and we popped a squat, ate our lunches, and sat there for 2 hours. Now, we were allowed to go in and out of the room as long as you had your spot and you had come in. So we did have our carts. Morgan and I had run up to our rooms after the second panel to grab all of our carts, and Tori was scoping things out for us downstairs and waiting in a line that was then forced to disband because they did not want us into lines until noon. So they were very adamant, so there was just literally a crowd of us standing there since we weren't allowed to line up. And so once we were led into this room, we hung out, chatted. I recharged my phone because it was at about 60% and I wanted it fully charged for the signing, so I had a block charger that I brought, and we just hung out, talked, and Tori and I tried to watch some YouTube videos together but really couldn't focus. So they had a hard time communicating with us because it was so loud in this room. I don't know how many people were in that room, but over 500 of us were probably sitting in this line, and they did not have any microphones or anything until the very end of the 2 hours, so it was very hard to talk to us. But once it was 2 o'clock, we were all like itching to go. I was getting super anxious about the wristbands because that's what I was freaking out about. They were like, some will go in minutes and you won't even be able to see everybody. It was not like that. But at 2 o'clock, they were like, hold on, we lost someone's wristbands, so you're gonna have to wait a little bit. And we had to wait like 10 more minutes, which was kind of frustrating as a reader because it's like, what have you been doing the last 2 hours? You've been forcing us to wait in this line for. They found the wristbands, though they did not get Kennedy Ryan's wristbands to her yet, so I will go into that. So what we had done was the night before, we mapped out a route. We decided we were gonna go like up through here, then we're gonna come down through this row. It's one big room, and these were all like lined up next to each other. It was like 1, 2, 3. So these are all walkways. So then we were gonna go up here, through here. We had a whole line mapped out, and I had this sitting on my cart, and Tori and I stuck together because I think almost every single author we wanted to see the same ones of. Tabitha, Morgan, and Kerry all had other authors too they wanted to see, so we kind of stuck into little groups. So Tori and I went around and grabbed all of our wristbands, and I think the highest one was Elle Kennedy, who we saw at the end of our route because she was at the end, and we had like 192 for Elle Kennedy. Everybody else was in the first pretty much 100 of the wristbands. That meant we could pretty much see any author we wanted at any time. And so I got to see so many authors that first day, and the standout ones to me, I got to chat with Catherine Cowles, and Tori and I don't remember if we went to her in between getting wristbands or right after. We saw her pretty early on when we got in the room, and she still had, I will show you that. Where is it? Oh, here. She had early copies of her new book. The first 5 people in line got to grab one, and when I saw her, she saw me, and she immediately jumped up and gave me a hug because I've been obsessed with her books lately. We've chatted on Instagram, and I love her so much, and so she recognized me, gave me the biggest hug, and told me she still had some of these available. So Tori and I actually took the last 2, and they are signed to us. Well, this one's signed to me. Tori, it's signed to her, and I literally told everybody in our group they had to read Catherine Cowles. So I believe Morgan, she gave Morgan one too when Morgan saw her later because she recognized Morgan as well. And then my friend Tabitha got the first 3 books in her 3 series. So she had a deal going on like buy 3 for 30. So that's what Tabitha did too. So all my friends, I think Tabitha's reading Hidden Waters like literally today she had posted, so I'm very excited for that. So I ended up getting this. She was one of the first authors I saw, and then we just went around and we both definitely saw Gianna Darling that day. I had to see Gianna. I'm obsessed with her. We knew we were going to see her. So I ended up seeing Gianna Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So we spent about a lot of time chatting with her. I also saw, I'm going to just pull this up right here. So I ended up seeing Karina Halley, Kennedy Ryan, who did not have any wristbands first, but then we were texting our group chat when people were wristbanded authors when we saw them, since we were all separated. So I believe also someone else, it might have been Kerry, had texted that Gianna Darling ended up being a ticketed author, so we knew to head over to her. I saw Daphne Perry, which was super fun. I bought her Clifton Forge book 1 in that series, which I was really excited to get, and I had like a bunch for, I think I brought 3, and then I had some that I pre-ordered from her, so I also ended up taking these 2 as well because I pre-ordered these. She had a really good deal on these, cheaper than Amazon. So saw Daphne Perry, loved her so much, she's gorgeous, and I was really excited to see her. I also saw Emma Scott, and I bought her new book, which is this one because both Cheyenne and Sam absolutely love this book, so I had to buy it. And I also saw, did I say Brittany C. Cherry? I saw Brittany C. Cherry. She was amazing. She was gorgeous in real life. I'm obsessed with her. Candy Steiner had a consistently giant line, and I was so proud of her for that. Sorry, my lights, it's getting super light outside. So I saw Candy and was able to get her to sign my books, and then she had a deal going on where if you bought 3, you saved $10, and all of her books were $20, so I didn't want to just buy 2. I could have added 1 for 10, so I bought these 2. I read this and really enjoyed it. Then this one has been super, super hyped lately, so I got this one, and then I got another book for a friend, so I got that signed. So I got 3 by her. It was so much fun seeing Candy. I had seen her, I think in 2018 at a signing, so it's been a long time since I've seen her in person, and she had such a long line the entire time, which made me so happy when I saw some of my favorite authors having such long lines. Like Catherine Cowles always had a line, and I was just like, you're doing so well. And so did Gianna, and Gianna became a ticketed author even though she wasn't on the original list, and I told her that was absolutely absurd, and she was on the list. So I also ended up that day seeing KK Allen, and I got her new book, which was so fun because she actually had it also signed by the photographer and the model. Most of my books survived. This one just got a little bent in my suitcase. Almost every single other one did survive my trip, so I also had this signed by her. I love KK Allen. I've seen her like 4 times now at signings. She's everywhere. Oh, I also got to see Ashley Jade, and Tori got to buy the words. She was super sweet. She was super gorgeous as well. Her makeup was absolutely stunning. I loved seeing her, and I did save some people to see the next day that I knew I wouldn't have a problem seeing, so like that probably didn't have that big of a line. I saw Pam Godwin. She is stunning as well. I loved seeing her. And then I got to see Penelope Douglas. Their line was a little long. Tori and I would just like keep an eye on how long it was and only ended up spending like 20 minutes in their line, so it wasn't too bad, and loved seeing them. I also got to see Jessica Hawkins. She was the sweetest. I love her so much. Had her sign a few of my books. And then I got to see Hello Lovely. I got to see Becca from Hello Lovely, who I'm obsessed with as well. Hello Lovely is the shirt company that I'm always, and book box company that I always see. I also, in Gianna's line, got my pre-order of the Anti-Heroes in Love duet, which is exclusive to the signing as of now. I don't know if it's going to go on Amazon, but she had not released the cover at all, so we had not even seen it when we pre-ordered it. It was kind of like a leap of faith, which Tori also got the Enslaved duet, and I'm very sad I did not pre-order that as well. And I even asked Annette at the end, her PA, and I was like, are there any more of the other duet that I can buy off of you? And she said no, they only ordered enough for the pre-orders, which I was like, okay, I will live in regret forever, but okay. So if you haven't looked at Tori's, any of her posts yet, check it out. She might have posted that other cover there. And then I believe that's everybody. Oh, and I went back to Catherine's line and I bought this, and this is book 3 in her series, but I have the other edition of this series, so I wanted to get this one, which is super pretty. Love that. So I believe those were most of the authors that I saw that day. So then that night we ended up spending almost until 6 o'clock in the signing room. They closed down at 7, and we just had to see like Elle Kennedy and Serena Bowen and Sierra Simone, and we knew they had really long lines, so we were gonna see them the next day because they are authors that are high demand, and I didn't want to see all high demand authors in one day because we had already seen quite a few, and we had a really successful signing day. So then we ended up going out to dinner, and we went to Olive Garden. So we saw the Italian place that was in the hotel, and we're like, oh, this sounds so good. They didn't have reservations until the next day at 9. So we drove to an Olive Garden and had dinner there, all 5 of us, and then we decided to go to the party because Gianna was talking about it and how she was going as Harley Rose. So we were like, okay, let's go. We didn't really see any authors there except for BB Easton, but we went and they had an author spelling bee, and it was okay. They were doing like dirty words that the authors had to spell, and we just kind of like hung out together for about an hour, and then we left at 10, and because the party started at 9. At 10 we went back to our rooms, and we ended up packing up our cart for the next day. So we took out all of our books that we didn't need signed, that were already signed, and then packed up the books we had left in the room. So like there were authors that we knew probably wouldn't have a consistently 45-minute long line for the whole time. There were only like a handful of authors that would have that. So we already got a lot of our big authors out of the way. I knew though I had to see Sierra Simone like ASAP because she takes a long time talking to her fans. I got to Nashville really late in February and had no chance of seeing her, so I knew this was my one and only chance to see her again until another signing, so we decided to save her, Elle Kennedy, Serena Bowen, Samantha Christie. I had another Catherine Cowles book. I had Elizabeth O'Rourke, and we had like a few others. And I know that Morgan had to see Megan Quinn, so and Julie Ann I hadn't seen yet, so we decided to pack those up and then went to bed. Here's the B-roll from Friday. And then woke up at the same time the next day. We got to see 3 other panels that we were really excited about. So we saw the Rock Stars and Rebels panel, which was really fun, that had Ashley Jade and other people that I don't remember was on that panel, but it was fun. It wasn't like the best panel, but it was fun. And then we left that one early though because we wanted to see the dark romance panel. So that had Sierra Simone moderating, Sky Warren, Sienna Snow, Amelia Wilde, Gianna Darling, and Pam Godwin, and C. Hallman. So they were all on the panel, and it was such a fascinating conversation. That was hands down the best panel I saw. Sierra Simone is absolutely hilarious, and she did such a good job moderating, and so that was fun, but that was packed, and we got a free sticker with it too, which I think I put downstairs. I don't even remember where I put this sticker, but it's downstairs somewhere, I think. So that one was really, really fantastic. After that, we went to the sports romance panel, which was okay. That was probably my least favorite panel. It just like nothing exciting was going on because I don't think I really was a fan of any of the authors. It was like Jay Sterling. Amy Dawes had to leave because she had a family emergency, so she was in her room signing books that she could give to people before she had to leave for the day, and so she was not on the panel. She's probably one of the only ones that I had read and loved from the panel. We had Helena Hunting, Sarah Nye, which I'm like, I know them, I've read them, but they're not my absolute favorites, so that panel was okay. And then we left, and it was what, 11, and the signing room did not open until 2, and so we checked out the lunch they had available, and it was either like this salad or roast beef sandwiches, which none of us wanted except for Tabitha. So we decided to, because she likes roast beef, she ate it She said it wasn't the best, but we decided to go out and get some fast food, pick some up. So Tori, Morgan, and I picked up stuff for Kerry, and we got a drink for Tabitha, and we got our food. Came back and decided to eat in the hotel lobby. We were not lining up at 12 that day. We didn't think we had to run to anybody's table because there were no wristbands available that day. All of the wristbands from the previous day carried over. So then for lunch, we all ate together, and then we went to our room and chatted for just a little bit. We hung out. Tori and I filmed a little something for Gianna Darling's birthday that someone is putting together for her 30th, and then we looked at all the books that we had gotten. So Kerry and Tabitha came and chatted with us in our room, checked through all of our books and stuff, and then we headed out into the signing room at like 11:45, and then we couldn't go in until everybody who was waiting in the waiting room went in, so we got to go in then around like 2:15, and I immediately went to Sierra Simone's line, and there was already a full line there, and I waited 45 minutes to see her. And so she takes so much time to talk to everybody in her line, and I loved my conversation with her. She was on the dark romance panel, was talking about Patricia Gaffney, so I chatted with her about historical romances and said I couldn't see her in Nashville, so I was super excited to see her now, and she was the absolute sweetest. And I got a gift for a couple people. Morgan's birthday is today, Monday that I'm filming this, so I got a book for Morgan, and then a book for another friend from YouTube who already knows because she saw my TikTok, but that's okay. I got those gifts and then had 2 of my books signed by her and just had a lovely conversation. She was amazing. And so then Tori was going around because she had already met her in Nashville. She didn't want to meet her again and take somebody's spot who hasn't got to meet her before. So after 45 minutes, now it's 3 o'clock, Tori and I go around. So we ended up seeing Elizabeth O'Rourke, and it was the absolute sweetest conversation I've ever had with an author. I walk up, she immediately lights up, and she recognizes me from when I talked about Parallel. She was saving this book for me. She had told her assistant she knew I was coming because I had tagged her in a post, and she wanted to save book 3 for me, which was so kind of her. So she gifted this to me, and I just gushed about her books to her. I was just like, Waking Olivia is so special, and I'm a runner. And then Elizabeth said she used to be a runner. She ran marathons, and I was just like, this is amazing, and how I loved Parallel. She thanked me so much for talking about her books like on TikTok and Instagram, and it was just lovely getting to see her, and it's so special. That was one of the highlights of my trip, was getting to see her and chatting with her. And then I walked around a little bit. I saw Catherine again, we saw Gianna again, and I saw Samantha Christie. Let me look at this. I'm pretty sure I saw K.A. Tucker that day, and we saw Elle Kennedy and Serena Bowen. Elle recognized me from when I saw her like 4 years ago. I've been reading Elle Kennedy for like 6 years now, and I've been such a huge fan of hers, so I got to see her again and chat about her new book with her, which was really exciting. And then who else did I see? I saw Coralie June and Julie Ann. I got to see Megan Brandy, who I didn't get to see the day before, and I think those are most of the people that I saw. We stopped by Becca's Hello Lovely's table again and bought a t-shirt, and then we went to the bookworm box and spun the wheel, and I got to pick out a free book. So I got Lilac by Baby Reed. This one is one that like really was one that got dented in my bag. This was the only one though. Like this and that Catherine Cowles were the only 2 that got dented. So it's okay. I am really excited that I got this because it's the Bookworm Box Special Edition, and I had gotten a free book. They had like a spinner wheel. I got tier 3, so I got to pick on anything in the highest tier, which was really nice. Tori also got a free book. I think she got a Kate Stewart book. And then I folded and bought one more book. I bought Monica Murphy's book, A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime. She was super sweet. I got a free bag with it as well, because sometimes authors will give like swag bags like Catherine Cowles did too, and I got some cute stuff from there. So got this from Monica Murphy. I talked to her and I was like, I read your book like 7 years ago and I really liked it, and so I'm really excited to read your new one. I haven't read her in a long time. So I had so much fun chatting with the authors that day. Really more of a chill day. Tori and I knew we had so much time to see Elle Kennedy, who had another long line. We only waited like maybe 20-30 minutes in Elle Kennedy's line because she had like 2 sections of her line, but it moved pretty quickly. She was so sweet. I loved seeing Elle. And Natasha, who is her PA, I know Natasha as well, so that was a lot of fun. And yeah, we had a lot of time to do what we needed to do, and we didn't stress at all that day. So I was stressed going into the signing about seeing everybody, but wasn't that big of a deal at all. So once that was over and we saw everybody we wanted to see, we decided to take our stuff back to our room, and Tori had to still see Gianna to pick up her pre-order of the Enslaved duet that wasn't going to be available until Saturday. So we went down, got that, and then went to the cupcake room, hung out with people in the hallway for a little bit because everybody was done, and then we had to go back to Gianna's table at 6:30 for the Gianna's Darlings Facebook picture. Her Facebook group, we decided to all meet up and get a picture together. So the signing had really died down at that point. Lots of authors didn't have a line. The only ones that I saw were Sierra Simone was still signing away at 6:30. Penny Reed had a massive line still, and Colleen Hoover, I didn't try to see Colleen because I've met her a couple of times, so I figured I didn't want to stress about that. E.L. James and KF Breen had a line, and Anna Todd. So those were the people that still had really long lines. I think Candy still had a line, but once we got our photo taken, we went out to dinner to this like sports bar place, and that was really good. And we came back, changed, I don't think we even changed. We came back and went straight to the closing ceremony, and that one was a Decades costume party, but we did not wear Decades costumes at all. So we sat in one of the tables, and they had free books laying around that were donated by Source Books, and a bunch of the swag bags that were left over that people were digging through, and we spent about an hour there chatting. I got to see Rachel from BookTube as well. Rachel C. Reeds, I think is her name, and that was really fun. And then called it a night and went to bed, and in the morning, oh, we packed up a box of books for Morgan to send home. So like my pre-order from Kennedy Ryan's in that box. Morgan is mailing a box to us because we both bought too much.
I binged it while I was on vacation. I was like, turn fantasy, awesome, lots of smut.
What series?
The Rune series.
Okay.
Yeah, I literally like binged it while I was on, I went on my 20th anniversary to Bora Bora, and on that flight, I was like, this is dark smut, yes! It's fantasy, so I was like, just breathe it away. Excellent.
Well, I already mentioned my favorite is Twist Me, but you probably already read that. A little bit lesser known, I think, but some of you probably know too, is Adelaide Forrest. She did the Beauty and Lies series, and that series is amazing. I actually, I was in her inbox the entire time I read it, and I made her send me the books without being edited because I couldn't wait for that.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she's, and I was so mad too because she sent me her stuff unedited, and I'm like, if that's my stuff edited. That's what my stuff looks like.
I actually just recently was addicted to a trilogy, and it's like a dark erotic horror retelling of King Arthur, and it's MMF, which is like, all of that was just like, as soon as I read that, I was like, I'm gonna love this, and I did. It was so good. So the first book is called King Among the Dead by Lauren Gilly. I love Lauren Gilly. She says she doesn't write romance, she writes literary fiction, but it's romance. So highly recommend all of her, but that trilogy was really good.
I'm gonna go with Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman.
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yes.
Okay, I've been thinking, I'm not gonna choose. So All the Ugly and Wonderful Things by Frank Greenwood is also one of those like literary fiction that's actually romance.
Also recommend that.
I know. But I feel like my favorite dark romance ever is To Have and to Hold.
I just read this last week. Oh my god. Why didn't you tell me about it?
By Patricia Gaffney. To Have and to Hold by Patricia Gaffney. It is technically a historical romance. If you don't read historical, do not worry. It is like not about a Regency ballroom, I swear to God. I mean, I love that too. It's just a different vibe.
Yeah, I would say it's a very accessible historical, and that it's not preoccupied with the kind of carriage that everyone's driving. So I was able to jump right in, and it is amazing. Definitely check out content warnings for that one because it's a very challenging book, but for me, it was something that I really resonated with and really liked. One of my favorite dark romances is actually an FF dark romance. It's called Captive in the Underworld by Manu Tan. It is a Hades and Persephone retelling, but it's gender bent, so Hades is a woman. And it's actually set like in ancient Greece. So like Hades actually is like the god of the underworld, and Persephone has to go there. But it's FF, it's super sexy, super dark. I love it. Captive in the Underworld.
Morgan headed out at around 8:45. She left a little early, and then we hung out and did an Instagram live, and then we left. And that was the signing. I explained a lot. This is gonna be a very long video, but if you have any questions about how the signing works, let me know. I already cannot wait to go back next year. I know all my friends now want to go back next year. I think it was totally worth the money. There were a few hiccups here and there, but if you prioritize who you want to see and how, if you're organized like I am with my folder, I think you will not have any issue. We had a blast, and I loved everybody that I got to hang out with and see, and had such a fun time. So that's really all I have for you. Let me know if you have any questions, and I couldn't have recommended enough. If you need a video about what it's like going to book signings, let me know. I'll see what I can do, and that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.